Hey everyone, and welcome to this brand new video featuring all that's new on the D line for the month of January here on Tiger Railfan. Before we actually get into the nitty and gritty of the station tour, let's take a look at the route we're following. We'll be starting at the Wilshire La Brea station on the east side of that map and heading west along the chronological order of the opening of the D line. Let's get started here at the Wilshire La Brea station, which has those palm trees in the center of the median, which of course, as I mentioned in last month's episode, look a lot better than when they were first put in here. If you remember, the leaves were tied up towards the top, making it look really small, but now they're all ready to go. And the median is not only going to make it safer, but it also looks nice. And it's one of those projects that is a benefit of the D-Line subway extension. So transit projects have benefits that even go beyond to automobile drivers. Now the station entrance itself is going to be located one block over, and then it's going to be on the left-hand side at the intersection of Wilshire and La Brea. Looks like there's a bit of traffic here just before it. Let's go ahead and cross the street while we can to get a closer look at the actual station entrance. Density-wise, there's quite a bit of density at this area with some high-rise buildings there, but just a couple, most likely for some apartments. There's also some ground-level retail space as well, and great bus connections via the Route 212, which runs north and south along La Brea Avenue, and of course, your rapid 720 and local 20, in addition to the Dash City Bus. Speaking of which, there goes the LA Metro Route 20, the local variant of the Wilshire Boulevard bus route. Eventually, I believe the Rapid 720 is going to be cut once all three phases of the D-Line open, as it's going to be a waste of resources, although I do hope they beef up service on the local 4 in order to serve local travelers. There is an empty lot across the street there, which is actually only for construction staging. Similarly, this lot right over here is not really being used for anything, and hopefully these will be developed into some low-rent, high-density apartment buildings that'll provide great access to public transit across LA County. But here we are now at the station entrance itself. Most stations on the D-Line will have only one entrance, but there are a couple of exceptions, including the VA Medical Center and the Westwood UCLA station. Seems like the station lighting is on, so electrically everything is working nicely. The elevators still look in pristine shape. There's not really anything new to update with respect to this, besides the fact that they seem ready to go. Same thing with the actual station facade and building itself. Although the station name is still wrapped up, so my guess is they're going to wait to do some kind of unveiling ceremony. Maybe they'll even dedicate the station as well, as they have done with some other light rail stops. But looks like everything is in working order. All of the concrete has been poured. All of the station lighting is on, meaning all the electrical is working. And there are some bike racks as well, and bike lockers back behind the actual station entrance building. There goes the Route 20 heading the other way, and here is the Rapid 720. This is one of the higher traveled bus corridors, making it a great option to build a subway at. Eventually, I would love to see the D-Line extended, maybe at grade or even elevated over to Santa Monica as well. However, Metro has confirmed that this would not happen. But yeah, the apartment structure just in front of us as well goes really far down, so I guess the station will have quite a bit of ridership, as you'll see all of the stations are likely to. So I think this will really be a highly successful line on LA Metro, and I can't wait to see it open. Phase 1, which consists of the first 3 stations from Wilshire La Brea, Wilshire Fairfax, and Wilshire La Cienega onwards, will be opening in February of this year, hopefully, or March. The current estimate is winter of this year, so we'll see if they end up delaying it again or if we imminently get an opening time. But as of the editing of this video, none of that information is out yet. There was one last look at the station building itself before we begin heading on to the next one. I also noticed with the construction of the subway, there are some new light structures popping up around, and these will be a theme throughout the Phase 1 stations as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, the staging lot over here really hasn't had much activity, and it's kind of just being used as a temporary location for a lot of construction vehicles and resources. So not much to report over there. But looking forward at the Wilshire Boulevard sidewalk, if you squint your eyes and look towards the left-hand side of the screen, most of the chain link fence is gone, so all of the partial sidewalk closures are pretty much done, which is good to see. There's also a new business at this ground level retail area. Looks like it is a sushi restaurant with pretty good ratings as well, so really good to see some new businesses popping up in this area. There is still some work going on over here by the traffic light pole, but looking forward, we can see that everything past this traffic light looks pretty good, and we can see those palm trees have been implemented on the sidewalk as well, just as I was hoping. So the sidewalks are going to be a much better place to walk for pedestrians. And it kind of provides a physical barrier between people and the bike lane and regular vehicular traffic. Maybe you'll have to come out and try this place one day, but it's good to see some transit-oriented restaurants and retail. This will also contribute to more ridership in the area. Here is the bus stop for the aforementioned local Route 212, which is one of the busier bus routes as well, running north and south from the Hawthorne-Lenox C line station, up through here, the D line connection, and north to the B line at Hollywood and Highland. Now let's head to the next stop along the line, which is Wilshire Fairfax. And now welcome to the Wilshire Fairfax station, located on phase 1 of the D line extension. This station is also scheduled to open in winter of this year, meaning February or March. So hopefully we see some updates with that in the near future. This station is known for all the museums located around it. Just ahead of us is the Peterson Automotive Museum, and to the left is the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures. So this station will provide a lot of ridership for tourists coming in the area. And coupling this with the LAX Metro Transit Center opening, we'll likely see a lot more tourist ridership across the LA Metro system, especially when it comes to the LA 2028 Olympics, which is likely going to bring a lot of tourist demand in, as well as most people will probably come in and see the games, but they'll also look for things to do outside of the Olympics. And I'm sure a lot of the museums here will be on their list. Now, the actual station entrance is just located on the other side of the Peterson Automotive Museum building here, situated in between the museum here and the LA County Museum of Art, in addition to the Urban Light. If you continue walking, you'll also hit the tar pit area. So it services all of those museums and attractions pretty evenly, which is nice to see. It's also good to see that we have the trees in the median as well, similar to the previous station. But continuing just straight ahead, we can see the station just ahead on the right-hand side. Traffic-wise, the street's looking pretty good here. Not much blockage around here. You can also see the Urban Light just through on the left-hand side. It's also worth noting that that bridge over Wilshire Boulevard is for the LA County Museum of Art, which has been expanding recently. So it's worth noting not to confuse construction with that project with the D-Line subway station here. But here we are at the entrance. We can see that, again, all of the station art is present. Looks like they are still doing some work at the bottom of that artwork. And we can also see that the station name is still covered. So they're probably working on something at the moment as well, in terms of foundation. Yeah, there is some construction worker presence as well here, which is pretty good. And you can also see that the station looks pretty clean and ready to open, with the only exception being the fact that there is no lighting currently on at the station. But it could just be that they finished their testing, as the station is again expected to open really soon. At this station, there are also these weird things going out of the sidewalk just to the left that just left the screen. Those are methane gas pipes that are used due to the digging conditions around the area here. And fun fact, that's the original reason why the B-Line subway, or formerly the Red Line, stopped at Wilshire Western and didn't end up continuing. That's what prompted the current red line configuration that we have today, heading up Vermont Avenue. There's also an empty lot here, similar to what we saw at the previous station, and I really hope they add, of course, some high-density, transit-oriented development here as well. I believe it used to be used for construction staging, but really it's not being used anymore. Looks like there is some construction walls up as well. They also provide advertisement for the D-line extension line, which we'll see in just a moment. And I love how they're doing that, especially whenever traffic's really bad and there's a faster way to go around being presented here, which is the D-line subway. It of course is a very busy bus corridor, as you can see by all of the buses that you see in today's video. So I'm sure ridership on this line might even surpass that of the E-line. But here is another one of those methane gas pipes right ahead. And the density beyond this intersection is pretty good as well, with a couple office high-rises and, of course, the aforementioned museums. There's still some construction going on in the rightmost shoulder area, but it doesn't look like it was originally a lane, so there's no issues there in regards to traffic. But let's go ahead and take a final look at the station before we head to the next one, which is Wilshire La Cienega. Overall, the elevators at this station also look great. If you remember from previous episodes, it seems like some of the glass got cracked, but it's been fixed and repaired. There's also plenty of information screens, or information placeholders rather, but they are just filled with a white background, so not much in there just yet. The Metro logo is present though, but of course none of the station lighting was on. But the escalators do look in great condition as well. They look fully ready to go. And here go two of the Rapid 720 buses at the same time as well. For more bus compilations posted to the YouTube channel, feel free to take a look at videos in the description, or you can look up those videos on the channel as well. But let's get to the next stop along the line, Wilshire La Cienega. And welcome to the Wilshire La Cienega station area. The intersection of Wilshire and La Cienega is located just ahead. The station entrance is going to be located diagonally across us from the intersection on the northeast corner of Wilshire Boulevard and La Cienega. And you can already see there's quite a bit of active construction going on, which does worry me, as again, this is part of phase 1 of the extension, meaning it should be opening any month now. So the fact that they are still excavating here worries me quite a bit. But again, this video was filmed very early in January, so hopefully this has been quickly finished up and they'll be already finished by the time we film February's update. And hopefully by then we'll have an opening date for the phase 1 of the D-line extension. But there's plenty of construction worker presence here on this Monday, which is good to see. Similar to the Wilshire Fairfax station, none of the station lighting is on, but we have seen all of it on in past videos, so there's no concern about that. They must have finally saw enough of these construction updates and saw that they should probably stop wasting power. But anyways, the station is looking great so far. Let's go ahead and get a closer look. But while we cross the street, if you are enjoying the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos just like this. I post monthly construction updates on several projects, and one of them that's going to be coming is going to be on the East San Bernardino Valley line. So make sure to subscribe to not miss updates on that project once major construction begins. But back to the video here. Overall, the station is still in a similar layout in the sense that they have those construction fences up on these sides of the station. And I do like how they are advertising the D-line here and also allowing people with questions, inquiries, or concerns to contact Metro through a dedicated phone number. I honestly wish they had this more at the Wilshire Fairfax station, but it does block our view, so it is good to see that we saw a good look at the Wilshire Fairfax station, and we'll still get a good look at this station by just lifting the camera over the fences here. But here is the station, and we can see quite a bit of station art already present from last month's update. There's not too much new to report here except that red hose at the bottom, and some construction materials on the left-hand side, which no one was touching at the time. You can see it through the screens just on the right-hand side as well as we walk by. So it looks like most of the work is probably being done internally in the station's platform area. Obviously, all of the track and signaling has been completed. They're just probably finishing up some touches down below. Things like adding the trash cans, benches, making sure that the departure screens are working properly, and finalizing things of that nature. It is a pretty busy intersection here, and if you do remember last month's update, it was quite a bit of a mess. Essentially, all of the lanes were closed except one, and construction was going out into the center of the intersection as well, which is pretty crazy. If you haven't seen that, feel free to take a look at the previous episode for December of 2025. That's when there was a significant amount of construction going on here at Wilshire La Cienega, but it's good to see that a lot of that has calmed down. We just walked over one of the emergency exits for the station as well, and that's probably a good reason that these sidewalks are wide around here to accommodate for things of that nature. Here, there's the station entrance, and the elevators on the right-hand side also looking pretty good. Looks like there is still some protective tape on it, but there are some new signs showcasing the rules of Metro as well on the station entrance. I'm glad to see that they are doing that and taking a stance similar to what the OC streetcar is doing, where they're clearly displaying visual cues of what not to do on the Metro. There's also these weird light structures that are present at this station. I believe that's what they are, and it's interesting to see how they're choosing light fixtures for each of the areas around here. It almost seems slightly different at each of the stations. Not sure what goal they were getting from there. Maybe they are adapted to the neighborhood, or maybe there's some history related to it. But if you do know, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Just the right turn lane looks like it's closed over there as that opens up past the shoulder. So that's not too much of an impact here. But as always, if you are traveling through the area, especially the phase 2 stations that we'll see shortly, make sure to give yourself plenty of extra time, whether you're walking or driving. But with that, let's go ahead and make our way to the next stop along the line, which is going to be continuing west on Wilshire Boulevard. And the next stop is going to be the Beverly Hills station, which is the first station that we have on phase 2, which is scheduled to open by the end of this year. And hopefully it stays that way, even with the minor delay in phase 1's opening. But with one final look at the station, let's go ahead and make our way to the next one at Beverly Drive, also formerly known as Wilshire Rodeo. And welcome to the Beverly Drive station, located near Rodeo Drive, which is a major shopping district in Los Angeles. There's also plenty of high-end restaurants and hotels around this area, making it a great option for tourists as well. The station itself, as the new name reflects, is located at the Beverly Hills intersection with Wilshire Boulevard and not directly by Rodeo Drive. But construction does start as we begin walking from Rodeo Drive down towards Beverly Hills Drive, which is about 2 blocks away. As we continue looking ahead at El Camino and Wilshire Boulevard, we can see that the right lane begins to close up ahead, and the sidewalk, a part of the sidewalk and the shoulder lane on the other side of the street are closed as well. Now, these are mostly to provide access to the underground area, but some of them are also just being used to stage construction equipment. But it seems like this first one doesn't have too much happening in it. There's also still some leftover Christmas decorations, as we can see that reindeer and Santa's sleigh up in the sky. I do love the Christmas decorations around this area and Century City. Honestly, makes me feel like New York with the amount of Christmas trees and decorations. And it's nice to still see some lingering around. A part of the sidewalk and shoulder lane here is blocked off as well, but we can see not much is happening except potentially a new section of pavement. maybe they redid the entire street not too long ago, which is why the asphalt looks in great condition. Now we're at the intersection of Crescent Drive and Wilshire Boulevard, where the construction begins to ramp up. So let's go ahead and cross the street and take a look. First, we can see that on the other side of the street, looks like more of the shoulder lane and sidewalk are blocked off. And it does look like there is some wood equipment or just some wood planks in there. So maybe they are doing something in terms of using that area to store the wood, or it might be the top of a ladder that they are using to enter the subway station area. This station is one that has quite a bit of access points for construction workers. If you remember from last month's update, there's a lot of sidewalk detours as well, and we had to cross the street several times. But we'll go ahead and evaluate what it's looking like today. Looks like there's a Knobby 45C bus, which is one of the non-articulated ones, running on the Rapid 720. It's a pretty rare sight there. But let's continue walking through. I love how they added the wood flooring here, which makes it very nice and ADA accessible. Better compared to what we first saw at the Wilshire La Cienega station in the earlier stages of construction. So it's a nice smooth walk here going past Beverly Hills Drive. There's also advertising material on the left-hand side, on the opposite side of that chain fence, that is going to help show motorists what's happening here, why the construction is slowing down, the traffic here, and the benefits that this new area station is going to bring, which is faster transportation to downtown LA and beyond. Okay, but now we are here at the site of the station entrance, which is located right here, and we do have an open view here, which is really nice. We can see that they are actively working on the framework for the station. You can see that they have a crane set up there as well, which is probably sooner or later going to be lifting that new roof piece up on the right-hand side of the screen over onto the current skeleton on the left. Looks like they're also mixing some concrete as well to pour that station plaza area, similar to what we saw at the previous Phase 1 stations. If I am being honest, this does make me a little nervous though, because I'm not sure how quickly they're going to be able to complete all of this and still have time to work out bugs in the system. But we'll see, and hopefully they do end up opening the stations on time. But if they do open it on time, my guess it would be in late December. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and get a look at what's behind this blocked off area. And it really looks like it's just a bunch of construction-y supplies right there, so not much else. Really just being used as a storage area there. This does make sense though, as there really isn't any major plot of land like we saw at the Wilshire La Brea station that could be used to store all this equipment. Looking in from another angle, we can see a lot of activity happening, and we can see one of those yellow construction elevators. You can't see the elevator itself, but that yellow box was the container for it essentially. But let's go ahead and continue looking past this area to the construction staging area of the Beverly Hills station. You can see the traffic lights are also in these temporary containers right here, and there is a sign showcasing that the sidewalk is closed. But if you look to the left, we can see an alternate walkway here. If you remember from last month's update, we were unable to fully walk on these sidewalks, so it is true that you have to use this extra area here. I'm glad to see that they are opening possible sidewalk routes as they appear and as construction finishes. So I'm at least glad that they're doing that and they're not wasting too much space around. Traffic conditions were pretty good as well, with only a couple minutes of delay from either direction when passing through this area on Wilshire Boulevard. But now here we are at Cannon Drive. This is the intersection where the construction staging area and offices are located, which is just to the left, behind those construction fences and walls. I won't waste you guys' time too much by going over there, but essentially it is being used as a home for the excavators, forklifts, and any other construction supplies, in addition to a portable building that's being used to house the offices for the construction project. So you can see those just in the distance. There's also specific Beverly Hills advertisements as well, showcasing where to go for some businesses, and just general advertisements stating that they're still open, which is a really cool feature in my opinion. And now that I think about it, at the Wilshire La Cienega station, I do remember seeing some advertisements as well, not on the construction walls or fences, but on the banners that are located off the side of traffic lights. But after Cannon Drive, construction steeply drops off and the site area returns to normal. This is good to see, as before this video and the December update, construction did continue beyond past Crescent Drive over here. So it's good to see that they are cleaning up after themselves, and the sidewalk looks in pretty good condition as well. So they didn't leave anything destroyed or in a worse condition, which is good to see. With that, let's go ahead to the next stop along the line, which is actually one of the only stations not off of Wilshire Boulevard. After this station, the tracks deviate slightly south to Century City, which is almost like the second downtown area of Los Angeles, especially when it comes to the amount of traffic and workers in the Century City area. Let's go ahead and take a look at all that now. And now welcome to the Century City Constellation Station area. Located just ahead is the intersection of Constellation Boulevard and Avenue of the Stars, where the station entrance is located. It is worth noting that coming in from Santa Monica Boulevard, the pedestrian infrastructure is really rough. I don't believe the local Route 4, a major bus route, is going to redirect into Century City. So I really think improvements need to be made, especially because there is no sidewalk closure sign still on the other side of the street, leading people straight to a dead end where they would need to walk all the way back to Santa Monica and Constellation Boulevard and cross the street, as we had in some of the early construction updates when even I didn't know that. But the site of the station is going to be located just ahead now on the southeast corner of the intersection. Now, previously I had thought that the concrete building located just ahead was meant for the LA Metro station, but it's actually part of the Park Plaza that's located on the second floor that the station is eventually going to connect to. But the station building has not actually yet had its frameworks added yet. So hopefully we see that in the next construction update, as again, this station is part of phase 2, and if they want to open on time by the end of the year, they really have to start ramping up that construction. There's also a lot of skyscraper construction going on here that is not related to Metro. There is a skyscraper that we just looked at that was having its side worked on, and it was actually getting a couple of floors added onto it, which is really cool to see that they are adding development to the area. Hopefully that was inspired by LA Metro building the subway station here as well. But looking at the density around here, it's probably one of the densest stations that we have seen in today's video. There are skyscrapers full of office space and major hotels as well. But an interesting fact about the city is that there is a lack of housing here. So it's mainly a commuter city, making it a great spot to have a major transportation line like the D-Line subway. But now let's go ahead and take an in-depth look at the station's construction progress so far. And looking already, we can see that there is a lot of construction worker presence here at the station, which is a really good sight to see. So it looks like they are ramping up construction. Or maybe they're all just working at the surface level and no one's downstairs at the platform, but who knows? Hopefully there is more construction workers downstairs working simultaneously with these people. A lot is happening here. There are construction workers all over the place, walking across the streets, most likely coming back from their breaks potentially. But one thing I immediately noticed is the 2 gravel mounds, or dirt mounds, located just ahead. Really interesting to see where that came from. Maybe there was some extra digging done for utilities, although that honestly should have been done by now. But if you do know what those are for, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Currently, it does not look like there is any solid ground yet for the actual station entrance building. So that does kind of worry me, and it makes me curious if that building that's already been built is part of the subway station. But if you do know, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Now let's go ahead and continue walking along Constellation Boulevard to look at some more of the construction progress done for the station. There is a pretty large crane just ahead that is not actively lifting or lowering anything, but it was probably active doing something before or after the day of filming. We can see some more major office buildings just ahead as well. And it's really cool how they have that central elevated parkway that is going to provide great access to all of these surrounding office buildings. So hopefully it'll be more attractive for those people to take the train here. I also appreciate how they are keeping the road open here as well. There is minimal traffic here and no lanes are closed actually, despite all of the things happening around here. It is worth noting that there are no advertisements on the side of the fences as well related to the project, but I believe that might be where the station elevators are or the station entrance, that little area that was under construction. Looks like a smaller area, so I would guess the elevators for that. There are also some bike racks right here as well, and I hope they end up adding capacity to this or adding bike lockers as well, as those I feel are going to really increase bike ridership to the station, especially when transfers might be lackluster, such as right now where there are not too many bus routes passing through Century City for the amount of people that work here. Now, luckily, there is a sidewalk detour up ahead as work is being done on the street lights and the area around there, which is unrelated to the actual subway station, but it's necessary to ensure everything runs smoothly once the subway station is implemented. Luckily, they have this sidewalk detour route though, which is going to lead us to a different area that I believe is a construction staging area for the Century City Constellation Station. We've looked at it in last month's update when the door was open, so hopefully we'll get some good luck with this month's video as well. This area is also where you're going to find connections to the Big Blue Bus, Route 5 to Santa Monica College. However, it is worth noting that these bus routes have likely been moved in order to accommodate some of the construction around here. So once the subway station opens, it is possible that the configuration of the buses may change and the bus stops may move elsewhere. But only time will tell for that. Located just ahead, it does look like the construction door is open, which is cool to see. So we can take a peek and see if anything is new over there. But my guess is it's going to be similar to the Wilshire La Brea station area, where there was not any new progress there. It was just, of course, a staging area for construction equipment that wasn't being used. A fun fact as well, the floor we're currently walking on, which is a concrete area with those squares, is where directly under us there is a station box or a right-of-way for the subway. So that's a way you can trace where the subway line is heading. And we can use that same trick to notice that the right-of-way continues to the north and it is not directly going straight through the intersection right here. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at that staging area to see what's happening. Upon first impression, it looks like it's honestly just a bunch of porta potties and not much else. Looks like there is some random construction supplies just laid up on the side, so maybe they are things that won't be used anymore. So it almost seems like just a construction landfill area over here. Looking from a side, we can get a better look at the entire area here. Looks like they have a bunch of stuff stacked up on the far side from us. I can't quite see what those white beams are stacked up in the distance, but I do hope they are the base for a station entrance, as they really need to get working on that building as soon as possible. Continuing down the street here, we can see that there is plenty of density as well all over the city. There is really no area where there is a gap or there's a parking lot or there's something that doesn't have much use. So all the space around here is used very efficiently, which is great to see. Looks like there's also a crane over there as well. Curious to see if it was actually doing anything in this area. But it seems like this is where they would wait to send construction supplies over to the active construction site whenever they were ready. I do love the green space here as well, and the modernity of the area around here, making it a really attractive area for a lot of employment and a lot of offices. So with that, let's go ahead now to the Phase 3 stations, which are the final two that we'll be covering in today's update, which is the Westwood UCLA and the VA Medical Center. Those stations will be scheduled to open at the end of 2027. Should they all open on time, they'll open in time for the LA Olympics. Although it's already looking kind of grim with all of the shuttle buses that they're going to be using. So there will definitely be a lot of Ubering and driving around for the LA 2028 Olympics, especially considering the amount of venues that they're using. But with that, let's head to the next stop, Westwood, UCLA. And now welcome to the Westwood UCLA station area. We're currently at the bus stop just north of the station, which services connections such as the Big Blue Bus and Culver City's Rapid Route 6 and Local 6. So there's a lot of service that passes through this area, mostly due to the prominence of UCLA. Almost all of the bus routes, Big Blue Bus and Culver City, continue to UCLA after the station. And you may be wondering why they do that, and that's because UCLA is actually about a mile away from the station. Now, there are some facilities like a fitness center and some businesses around that are close to the station and Wilshire Boulevard. However, most of the dorms, lecture halls, libraries, and central campus is located about a mile away from here. But here is the station entrance. Looks like there is a change in configuration compared to last month. Here we have some equipment that raises construction workers in the air, and it looks like it was left up for some reason, maybe for storage purposes actually. There's a truck full of cones there, a excavator, which is interesting to see, and a bunch of construction supplies scattered around. Hopefully all that's not damaged as well. There's some rebar in the distance that looks like it may have been damaged. Maybe it was ran over by a excavator. Hopefully not, because that would be pretty expensive to replace. And with so many cost overruns and delays, we really don't need anything like that. Now, there will be one other entrance to the station, to my knowledge, and that's going to be at the Chase Bank building, which is located just to the east, providing easier access to Wilshire Boulevard and Westwood Boulevard, which is good to see, especially as there is a lot more bus connections at Westwood Boulevard, including the Big Blue Bus Rapid 17 and the Metro Rapid 761. So there will be a lot of people walking that way as well. Let's go ahead and see what we can see from this sidewalk along the northern end of Wilshire Boulevard. One of my favorite parts about the map here, or about this wall, is the map right here, which showcases a full look at the UCLA campus, truly dedicating where the station is built for. Hopefully, we see the Sepulveda line accelerated, as they have chosen a heavy rail mode for the station to use. And they'll have a direct station at the UCLA campus. As for most of the things like dormitories and lecture halls, they will be farther away from the station, about a mile's walk. However, there are some facilities like some fitness centers and more that it will be located around the station area here, so it will still be convenient for some UCLA campus students. Walking across here, there are some notable things like the LA National Cemetery and LA Passport Building. The second one is located on the left over here. This is also where the eastbound bus stops are for the bus routes 720 and 20 on LA Metro. As you can see, one of those buses pulling in now. Looking back towards the intersection though, we can see that there's also a bus deadheading somewhere. Looks like it came from the local route 602, which runs through the Pacific Palisades area. But if we continue walking this way, we'll eventually find a temporary bus stop that houses the westbound Route 720 and 20. Also, there's a commuter express bus, the LA DOT 534, and Culver City and Big Blue bus routes. So this is truly a major bus stop transfer corridor that'll be along the D line. And I wouldn't be surprised if more people transferred here at Westwood UCLA to continue heading west opposed to the Brea Medical Center, as its transfer system seems to be a little bit worse, especially for westbound buses, but it's only about a half mile away. So it's not too bad getting off here and transferring to the bus here. Let's head to the next stop, VA Medical Center. And welcome to the VA Medical Center station area, named after the Veterans VA Medical Hospital located just south of the station. First up, we start with a lot of U.S. military items depicted on the wall, including the seal of the U.S. Marine Corps and various medals. Additionally, on the other side, there's also a painting showcasing what the station art is going to look like on the wall that's directly in front of us, that's currently under construction. I'm not sure if this is related to the subway project, but if you do know, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. But they are for sure redoing the art on that wall to make it look even more impressive. I love all of the decorations throughout the area, especially under the tunnel here, making a typically dark and boring area quite nice. Feel free to take a look at some of the other construction updates as well for different point of views on the tunnel. There's also planes depicted on the roof as well. So there's truly a lot of detail that goes through here, and this area is going to be really nice for some extra pedestrian traffic from the VA Medical Center station, which is actually coming up on our left-hand side. Fun fact as well about this stop, it's actually the largest construction site on the D line here, stretching all the way back to the 405 freeway. Looks like a crane is actively lowering some rebar or metal piping down towards the station ground level. Recently, we were unable to see the bottom of the subway platform of the station, as they had begun covering up the station box, which although prevents our visibility, it's great progress on the D line. Additionally, we can see that an unfinished pillar right there is going to be a part of a new bridge that's going to connect the station directly to Wilshire Boulevard, making connections a lot easier than they are now. And I can show you a little bit about that at the end of the video, and how bus transfers will be way easier once the D line opens, as most bus routes stop on the Wilshire Boulevard Bridge opposed to on street level. The only exception to this is Big Blue Bus Route 17. But now let's get our looks at the station. From the northwest corner of the station, we can't see too much here, just a bunch of staging areas here. That's also probably why the construction site here is so big, because they combine the actual station building area with staging. So I'm curious what they're going to do with the extra land. But it looks like there's some flagging going on around here with some vehicles backing out of one entrance and crossing the street. As it's not directly a straight shot across the street, it's good to see that they have these flaggers in place. So it's a really busy area, and if you are going to be traveling around here, of course, with most of these subway station areas, don't forget to give yourself extra time. Looking in from here, we can see actually some plant life as well, which is pretty interesting, but we can't really see too much of the pit inside of the subway station box. But let's continue walking through here. Fun fact as well, as the ground turns from asphalt to that concrete square material, that means that we are now directly walking over the subway station box or the right-of-way for the subway. So this is a good way to track whether or not you're following the subway route, if you're walking or driving at points in between the stations. Looking through here, we can see the finished station cover for the station box here. There's also been some rebar built on top of it, so it's good to see that there, as eventually they're going to need to finish building all the way up and doing the cover part of cut and cover. If we look further past the station box, we can see some more cranes and some active construction vehicles. So there's a lot of activity and construction going on here, which is really good to see, as hopefully they remain on track for an end of 2027 opening. Would love to see all of the D-line finished for the LA Olympics. There's also some construction going on across the street, which we'll get a look at in just a second. But looking to our left, we can see some conceptual art, which showcases what the station area is going to look like. And there you can see that bridge that they have that's going to be crossing onto Wilshire Boulevard, making transfers a lot easier. But I am curious to see what they're going to do for the other side of the street for westbound buses. That might be where you just transfer at Westwood, UCLA, but I'm curious to see what they end up coming up with. Looking through this entrance over here, though, we can see some more of the action that's done outside of the subway station box. There is where the supply truck was going into the area over there, most likely to drop off what appears to be like a porta potty and some other construction equipment. So that end of the station looks like it's definitely used more for staging and storage. But let's go ahead and take this opportunity while the flaggers are closing the street to go ahead and cross the street and take a look at the area from a distance. Looks like that truck is getting ready to actually reverse back out towards this area of the station. Interesting to see how there's a lot of movement in today's construction update. But now let's go ahead and get a look at what's happening on this side of the street, over here on the left. Looking to our left, it is definitely more of a staging area over here as well, although there's definitely less activity. Really just that crane over there. But it is worth noting that this area is pretty significant as it does go down to the subway platform level. So they are able to lift and lower things beneath into the station. Looks like that truck is moving out finally, and it looks like it's going to be leaving the station area. So maybe they're taking that porta potty away for servicing. But here's a look down towards the subway platform level. Unfortunately, we can't see the subway station itself anymore, but we can see the roof on it. Looks like a part of it was still uncovered over there if we zoom in over there, but most of it is covered and it already has some construction supply on the roof. Looks like they have the supplies for the rest of the covering over there. So hopefully this part of the subway station will be fully covered pretty soon. But actually this truck is transferring over to this side of the station. Not sure why it would do that. Maybe they need a porta potty over on this side as well. But it is definitely causing some traffic over here, all of the movement. So definitely make sure to give yourself some extra time, especially during busy periods, like morning and evening rush hours. Here's another look at the station. We can see there are some metal support structures in place over there and a wood one just above it, which most likely includes some utilities and things of that nature. And just above it, of course, are some more supporting beams. This is most likely what's going to be supporting the ground, I believe, or maybe it's protecting the utilities below. Either way, it's definitely going to be a high quality station, I believe. And I am curious what they're going to do with the extra land over here. If a second station entrance is going to be added, or if it's just going to be a park. But that would still be pretty cool, as it would act as a station plaza. I do hope they do add some transit-oriented development in terms of low-rent housing around here, especially for veterans. I think that would be really cool to make some subsidized housing for veterans over around here. It'll be connected to great public transit and, of course, the VA Medical Center just a little bit away. And you can see some of the art on this side of the bridge as well. And just ahead is where the bridge is going to be, connecting to Wilshire Boulevard. Now, that is also where the walkway would begin to head up towards the bus connection area. You would have to backtrack up the on-ramp-like street, and then you would end up having to backtrack your steps, leading to quite a bit of extra minutes of walking, and you could miss your bus from there. But the Big Blue Bus Route 17 does stop at the street over here, which is pretty nice to see. And it runs pretty frequently too, about every 15 minutes during the day, which is pretty cool to see. And the actual hospital itself is located just ahead in that building. So it is located pretty close to the hospital itself, unlike the UCLA station, which is still pretty far away from most of the dormitories and dining halls. But here comes the Big Blue Bus Route 17, which will take us to the end of today's construction update. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more just like this. And don't forget to have an amazing rest of your day or night. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next month.